We want to be God. Like there's spirits, demons, whatever you do, give it your all. Just act. Like just act. You only grow if you can take accountability.
How long are you going to let somebody else think for you? Because you can do something, and even if you're successful, if you don't remember how you did it, no, that is a good idea. If they want to gamble their happiness,
It's basically like the price that you pay, like playing chance. It comes down to acknowledging that the situation happened.
This is fun! Hello!
That's where it's like, I mean, you could say bigger beings like that too could smite us, but it's also, I wonder, like, what about like
Did you see anything? Huh? Eddie!
what about like fourth dimensional beings? Like beings that like exist on a fourth
we couldn't even
dimensional
comprehend,
plane.
right?
No, they could be right around us right now and we can't see them.
Literally.
Like they're just seeing us from a different angle. It's just like how a 2D piece
We
of
are
paper,
literally
they can only see
breaking the
each other.
fourth wall as we speak, and they're just like, keep listening.
Yep.
Don't
They
let
don't
them
even
know.
know.
They're like, yeah, start poking me. What was that?
Those times you always feel like a tickle in the back of your hair, like, oh, is that a bug?
Right. Well, that's where like we see ghosts, we
This
see
idiot.
all these other like strange phenomena.
Effigies.
Yeah, like there's spirits, demons, like all this other thing. What if it's just somebody on like the next dimension up just fucking with us?
Right?
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
right.
Just playing with this because it doesn't matter to them.
I love
Just like
this
us
idiot.
drawing on a
Watch
piece
him.
of paper. Oh, just like when we draw on paper, we don't care about the story we're making. We can put those characters through whatever we want. You know what I mean? Because we're in control. And just like that, it doesn't matter to us because they're on a lower dimension. They're a 2D image. They're just this basic concept that we created, we came up with. Like,
We are the creators
right.
of that, of
That's
their
what
universe.
that's what man wants to be, is a creator.
We do. We want to be God. Like, we're trying so hard to do things that.
I was thinking of that the other day. That's kind of how government is like based.
A little bit.
Let
Like
me take care of you.
they want to be the higher authority. That
Yes.
they get to make the decisions.
But even in Texas, like we attribute everything to a higher power, like, oh, thank God for this, or
Yeah.
with Christ's will, I was able to power through
It's
this.
basically like the price that you pay to have the amenities that have been laid for you.
Yeah.
Right. That's where I think Ben Franklin has a quote on that. It goes something to the fact of like, he who will sacrifice freedom for security deserves neither.
Yeah.
And it's because if you're gonna like give up all your freedom to make someone feel like you're secure, you're defeating the
secure are
purpose.
you?
And you're not secure. Exactly. Like you're not. So you're being misled. And it's like you have to like
That's been
freedom
my
is the
biggest
most
thing.
important thing.
Is how long are you going to let somebody else think for you before you start thinking for yourself?
Yep.
Right.
At some
Right.
point, you're going to have to take some ownership in the decisions you make.
Right. Stop going to others for validation. Stop going to others making, hey, is this okay? Is this fine? Even if you're not exactly asking that. Like I do that myself where I bounce ideas off people all the time and I'm just like, just act. Like just act. You came up with it, you decided for a reason. Some things you should go to other people for. But act. Like you have confidence in yourself, you know?
Because at the end of the day, who makes the decisions for you? The decisions that you make, was it really you making it, or are you going to blame it on someone else? Well, so-and-so told me to.
Right.
Basically, at the end of the day, we pay a fee to wake up on the United States of America soil.
Yeah. I
The
had that
government made sure
conversation.
we were there in the morning.
I had this conversation today about someone whose friend is like dealing with recovery, just partying all the time and all that stuff like that. And like there's this big like fiasco went down where it like they had to like just a shit night because of decisions that they had made. And like we were talking about people changing and people getting out of the lifestyle because we've all been through some kind of party style that we had to be like, all right, you got to grow up a little bit now.
Oh yeah.
And like that was the question. I was like, you only grow if you can take accountability that what happened that night was on you. And they were exactly like that. Like, no, yeah, they blamed us for it. They blamed everybody else for the reason why they went through what they went through that night. And it's like, you need to take accountability for your actions and your mistakes. Like, even if like other people are at fault, that doesn't matter. How did you get there?
Yeah.
How are you in the
end of the
position
day,
that
you
you're
made
in
the
right
decision to be in that moment.
Right. And not prepare yourself to get yourself out of the situation. So it's like, you got to take accountability no matter what doesn't matter what other people do. What the hell did you do?
It comes down to acknowledging that the situation happened.
Right. And how do you handle it? Oh, yeah.
Start taking account of the decisions you make before you end up somewhere with no clue how you got there.
Yeah. Yeah, that goes along with a quote I heard recently too, where it's like, people who like are super successful or like for something they worked for are never surprised at the success. Like, I think that's how it is. It's like success is never surprising, because like you had to set a goal for yourself and shoot for it and aim for it. So somewhere in your mind, that was a possibility because you've been working towards it. Success just doesn't just happen. You don't just like stumble on success.
Professor Utonium accidentally added an extra ingredient to the concoction, Chemical X. Thus, the Powerpuff Girls were born.
You might win the lottery, you might win money. That's not success. Success is you seeking out and accomplishing something.
Exactly.
So it's like
success is you attaining results.
Right. And it's like, you had to aim for it. It's not a surprise because you set something out and you accomplished it. And like having that confidence and that slight stupidity, like to just go for it. You know what I mean? Why not? Like,
and why has it got to be stupidity, right? That's what they'll call it. They call it stupidity, so you don't do it. But those sometimes are the things, those weird random thoughts. You got to just, no, that is a good idea.
Yeah.
And make that a goal. And then you start figuring out the pieces that need to go into place. And then decisions you make to get yourself from where you are to where you want to be.
Right.
And only you can make those decisions. Somebody's going to do it for you.
You have to be also good at those saying, no, that was a dumb idea. Like at some point, some things you got to be like, oh, I chased that. I went down it. You can explore from different avenues. Maybe I need to change it up a little bit. But sometimes it's got to be like, well, that was just a mistake, or that was just a dumb idea. Not a mistake because you learned something from it.
There have been a lot of times that I'll just do something and then immediately realizing that what I had done was just very dumb, that I'm just like, man, that was dumb. Like, why did I do that?
Or even worse, where you say, well, don't do that because this will happen. You do it, and then that happens.
And you're just like, you're like, were
Right.
you not
Allowed to
listening
act
to yourself?
surprised.
Were you not listening like 2 minutes ago, man? Like, I thought we had this talk.
But
That's right.
If you can't be real with you, how can you expect anybody else to be real with you?
Right.
Right. And that's where there's external factors, because maybe it didn't work out because you didn't prepare. Like external factors that you can adjust. So it's like, maybe you can prepare better for next time so you can better address it. Or maybe you prepared as much as you think that you could and you gave it your all. And that's where I think it's important, just whatever you do, give it your all, because then you never have to go back. You never have to go try it again. You never have to go, well, maybe if I would have done this, it would have turned out different. It's like, no, you checked that box when you were there. You know what I mean? Like,
that's where taking notes is important too, though. I'm learning, because you can do something, and even if you're successful, if you don't remember how you did it, it's harder to recreate that. It's harder to recreate what you did. It's harder to, because we're not perfect. We can't store everything that we do, everything that we've ever done, and recreate anything to perfection. So taking notes on the important stuff that's harder to remember, more, I don't know, mathematical, scientific, important.
right.
Think about the people that will put all their time and focus into going to a casino and winning a large amount of money. Like playing chance.
All the years I've waited for this, years. I've been coming here for years, never won once, and now I won. Money is mine. I have the money is mine. I got it the first time. I got the money.
Yeah. That's, if they want to gamble their happiness on a random outlier that they have no control over, power to them.
But they all have a method. Some do. They're like, well, if I know how to do this, I know how to do that. And there's some
They
names
know how
like,
to follow algorithms.
blackjack and things like that, you can read the table, you can read people, you can count cards. Like there's different ways that you can like manipulate chance. You know what I mean? No,
There are.
computers can't be random. Like because they're randomizers, there's some kind of like pattern to it. Yeah, like, and even humans, I wonder, because we're somewhat programmed, where even when we think we're being random, we're still pulling from something probably, you know? Like I wonder if we just string out a random like 30-digit line of numbers, if we could find where we pulled those numbers from in our life, like phone numbers and different things like that. I don't know. I wonder how that would work.
So there's probably patterns in the number, right?
Yeah, right. You think it's just 7 4 3 6 9 8 2 5 7 1 3, like.
But that even goes to like random ideas we have. It could be 10 different ideas that we took one little part from each one and then combined them to come up with this new idea.
Right. That would make sense too, because that's what we do on a grander scale with people. All people are trying to solve the same problem from a different avenue with all different ways, and we just mash them all together. It's like that cosmic echoing, the same thing that happens in our brain, where our brain takes, oh, this happened when you were 6, and that kind of showed you this physics, and this happened when you were 13, and that showed you this physics, and then your mind just puts them together, and you're like, oh. And that's like we were talking about earlier with instructions and like watching manuals and stuff. It's like, I could go and do that, but my mind takes all my past memories and goes, these are kind of similar, I think, to this and this and that. And I'm like, I kind of can get the concept of this. And then so it puts all that math, all that other programming I've done in the past together, and I try what I try.
He's not gonna make it! No, Darwin, he has to do this.
Which works pretty good. I'd say like 80% of the time, I'm decently successful.
Can you show me that kunai again?
Which one?
Just real quick. The one that you airbrushed. Okay.
And is that cardstock?
Yeah, or just like, yeah, whatever. Medium cardstock. And then, yeah, that was, again, just like, I didn't know how to airbrush. I just had an airbrush and hadn't used it. And I could go watch videos, and I was just like, I'm here now. Airbrush is in front of me. And I just did it.
Got to do what you got to do.
It was late at night. If I would have watched videos, I wouldn't have done it that night. I would have done it the next day. Like, it was already too late to, like, start a whole new thing. It was like, I don't know.
Start a video, you'd be ready for bed.
Phone is in your hand.
But that's still another 10 minutes of watching the video, finding the video. Like, I don't know.
I mean, you don't have to sink 10 minutes, but I mean, at the end of the day, you gotta do
it turned out though, right? It turned out just fine.
Hey, as long as the piece isn't broken.
No, it's fine. It's cleaned out. I watched the video on how to clean it, I guess. So I mean,
which is good.
Video, I think.
Yeah, you should definitely know that you're cleaning it properly. So that
I think that's honestly the only reason I haven't used mine. It's because I know there's a cleaning process.
It's not even that bad. It seems like overwhelming, but that's where it calmed me down with that. But see, and that's where I hit that wall of, I don't want to break it. And I don't like the painting part. I'm like, I probably won't break it by pouring paint in here and shooting stuff through it. My mind said that's fine. But like cleaning it, if I let stuff sit, I know stuff can rust. And I know from past experiences that leaving paint and stuff can gunk stuff up. And so I know.
So do you think by using it, it forced you to look up that video, so now you know how to use it? You said, screw it, I'm just gonna do it.
I didn't think about cleaning it when I did it. Like, I wasn't thinking about cleaning it. I was thinking about airbrushing. And then after I got done airbrushing, I was, that was fun. I was like, well, I gotta clean this now.
When you do things right, people won't be sure you've done anything at all.